What's up guys, it's Drac and this is a battle axe. So it's not a secret guys, we're realistically the only content creator that can tell you the truth about this line right now, and so we have to do it, which means we gotta get this out of the way real quick. The Nerf Ultra line uses a proprietary ammo and proprietary ammo delivery system in terms of its locks and intrinsic qualities that prevents you from using mainstream ammo in an attempt to just price gouge the heck out of this ammo that honestly isn't that good. It's intrinsically fragile and it does not overperform compared to 50 cal darts. In fact, the only metric that it does overperform in is Hasbro's balance sheet, because if you happen to be crazy enough or the purchaser is foolish enough to actually buy a reload kit for these darts, they're spending 50 cents a dart, making these by far the most expensive, least useful darts Hasbro's ever produced, which is just shameful. I could go on and on ad nauseum explaining to you all of the intricacies and hilarities of how this marketing has just been designed to target the lowest common denominator buyer, but instead all I'll tell you is that you should take a peek at the Amazon reviews, because it's kind of a hilarious life cycle where a new product will be launched on Amazon, a bunch of people will make 1-star reviews or 2-star reviews because they were incredibly disappointed with it, and then mysteriously out of nowhere 1,000 5-star reviews drop just like that. And if you're not smart enough to figure out that those two things might be related, then you're on the wrong NerfTube channel. That said, if you catch my drift, then you're in the right place, and it's time to take an actual, earnest, honest look at the Ultra 3, aka the Ultra Tomahawk, because that's what this thing looks like. Brick meets stick. Alright, so what we are actually looking at is an internal magazine with a smoked out window that holds 5 darts. Why they did the numerology with a 3, I have no idea. Why they launched completely out of order, I have no idea. But this one can only be described as an ergonomic nightmare. Now, as much fun as it would be to poke kind of fun at like how this does legitimately look like a battle axe, that's just an exercise in not doing a tube magazine the way that they should have done and could have done, because this ammo is so stiff. But I guess Hasbro forgot that one time they came to APOC and don't remember how an RSCB works. That said, internal magazine spring-fed like this holds a number of darts. Then you've got a seal up here, but when you Alright, this is not comical. It's just bad. It's just, ow. Alright, so that's not my most important finger either. Anyway, so assuming you rack the very long geared drive and you don't smash your trigger finger in the process, and that's because you guys should just take note here, the play is such that this comes really far back. If your hands are of any sort of semblance of a normal size and you have them outside of your trigger guard, which you should be doing anyway, it hurts like crazy. And part of that is just that this is really poor design. If any Ultra Blaster needed a handguard, it was the one with the giant pump grip on it. But no, you put the handguard on the weird Ultra 5, whatever. I'm fine, it's fine. Let's talk about how in the dark, if you're not thinking about it, the pump grip should be right here. This is where your offhand instinctively wants to go, and then you can pull on nothing. When you finally do relocate under this weird beard axe handle like blade thing and find the grip, then you pull it back. It's a really long pull. Now hopefully the power justifies some of that, but if you make the mistake of not thinking about it and just following every muscle memory for every operation ever, you're going to jam any fingers that are currently in safety position. Then you've got a little bit of an extra muzzle up here, which Hasbro has added to a couple of their blasters. I'm not sure if this even has grip on these darts. Let's find out. It does not. There's no reason for this. There's literally no reason this should have an extra 2 inches on the front end of it. Anyway, let's load some Ultra darts up and see how many it holds. Alright, so we've currently loaded up the 5 Whistler darts that come in the blaster. Thank goodness I didn't have to purchase these extra, but we have a couple of bonus ones. We can fit a 6th dart in there pretty comfortably, and then we'll take the 7th dart and we'll push that in there as well. So it took the 7th dart, and we're starting to get a little weird double stack action in this magazine. Let's see if we can fit an 8th one in. Yes, this is kind of surreal. So it's 8 darts, and then 9. No 9, got it. All right, so that's gonna fall out. Definitely don't load it with that in there because otherwise you're gonna close the door. Now, of note, there's nothing to stop you from pinching your hand in here other than the ergonomic disaster that is this loading system. Let me put that into perspective for you, but first, you can't make this up! You're watching the slow-mo, what happened there is that if you grip this like you should instead of like this because no one's hand is this small, when you're sliding forward, your other trigger finger's knuckle slams into the mag well. Who designed this blaster? Notable features should be that the blaster does not have slam fire. If you try to pull the trigger back here, nothing happens. Of note, if you try to prime the blaster with the trigger depressed, it actually seems like you could, so don't. It provides just enough resistance to say don't do that, but if you did, I'm pretty confident you would strip some of this gear system. I haven't taken this one apart yet. I will only do a full modification guide for this one if you guys throw me a thumbs up on the video and leave me a kind comment in the description box down below. However, I can feel the geared system in here, which does make what is a comparably, probably pretty serious spring load a little bit more comfortable to prime. However, it takes you a long way to draw, which leads to some of these ergonomic nightmares. I'm like almost afraid to really use this blaster because I've literally hurt both of my hands in the last 3 minutes doing it. Other than that, you get a tack rail up top. This one actually makes a ton of sense. You have iron sights that are pretty cute and honestly not that bad. You have a nose on the front of it that makes zero sense whatsoever. This is clearly supposed to be some sort of sling attachment point, but there's actually one up here that makes okay sense. This one should be further forward, and I guess there is one up here. Realistically, this one shouldn't exist, and this right here would have been so easy to move back here, and then it would be at least a little. There's nothing to fix this ergo. This is really, really bad design, guys. I don't know what's going on with the Ultraline. I don't know if they've given up because it's performing so poorly. I'm very confused, but like I've handled hundreds of Nerf blasters and I think that ergonomically this is easily top 5 worst, which is a real shame because theoretically this is a pretty long blaster designed for an enthusiast with long arms. This should be built for me. And when I picked up the Hades for the first time, I could feel that the ID guy at Hasbro had done a really good job. It felt like it was made for me. It was really good. This isn't like a hater situation, which I know some people have picked up on. I don't like the Ultraline because they lied to us. I don't like this blaster because it was poorly designed. They're two completely separate emotional things, and it's my job as someone looking out for you and your purchasing power to separate that emotion from fact and just tell you that this one is really, really rough. You're either going to be too short to use it properly because it has such a long pull, or you're going to have large enough fingers that you're going to hurt yourself constantly. It's just, how? One nice feature is that this one did come with screamer darts. You can't hear them in the studio. However, when we take it outside and put it over the chronograph, you guys will get a feel for how they sound. I've always liked Whistler darts. I like them in particular back during like the old school Maverick days. I really like them on dart tag darts. That said, we have one more gripe that we have to cover that's just, again, displays a complete lack of user knowledge. All right, so this is a freebie for the person who designed this blaster, and I think I know who you are. This is really easy. Had you ever picked up a Nerf blaster and been in a Nerf battle, you would understand that you want your onboard dart storage to be as close to its loading port as possible. The Night Finder, a flawless piece of design in that all you have to do is pull it out of the holder and into the barrel. One smooth operation, very nice. You could have very easily set the rail back here and put these funky integrated dart holders up close to here, but instead what we have to do is prime back gently, being careful not to jam our dominant finger, hold the entire weight of the blaster out in front of it, which is not going to be fun for small children, and then either one or two at a time, come all the way back and all the way forward. All the way back and all the way forward. It would be so much quicker and more efficient if these were either a side saddle strapped here so that you can just pull them out and put them in, or if they were over here in some form or fashion. I mean, the whole blaster looks like it just didn't take human anatomy into account in its design. And honestly, like, I'm not in the worst shape. It's getting a little tiring holding something that has such a wonky grip out in front of me constantly for the purposes of this review. Ideally, you would always have a secondary hand on it, but again, while primed, all the weight is still forward because everything is in the front. Because why? Chronograph time. All right, guys, so we're out here with our chronograph. Our Ultra 3, we've learned to be very respectful of this thing so that it doesn't bite us anymore. And we'll put a couple over, which is just a kind of exercise in how egregious the design of this is. But hey, 109. It's one of the hardest hitting Ultra blasters thus far. Of course, 93, not quite as good. Here's a screamer tip. Let's fire that down range actually for you guys, just so that you can listen to it. And so performance-wise, credit where credit is due, that was a screamer dart downrange about 85, 90 feet. That's pretty impressive. There's a lot of power behind this guy. However, you're still shooting Ultra darts, which means that your ability to hit what you're aiming at is questionable at best, and then your ability to fire those darts again after they've hit anything is also a little questionable. Screamer dart at 112, 110. Honestly, pretty good numbers. This is, I think, the highest stock FPS blaster I have ever had the pleasure of reviewing. It's just a shame that it comes in an ergonomic package. You can even see the reload suffering here as we go through. Put one more over, 109. So again, like a rough average of about 110, sometimes a little higher, sometimes a little colder, but overall, an ergonomic disaster that does deliver high numbers downrange with possibly the worst Nerf ammunition to ever be released. It's maybe debatably better than Streamlines, but Streamlines were an actual iterative piece of the process that gave us elites. So hard to say. I'll let you guys draw your own conclusions. The one thing that I can encourage you to do is that every honest review of an Ultra product you leave on Amazon.com protects another buyer and costs whoever might be responsible for the thousands that drop at a time at least 10, maybe 20 of whatever that is. So that's an interesting factoid in and of itself. Put one more down range. That was actually a much softer shot, so we'll put one more. That was like a 60-foot shot. I guess you really need the angle to make your Ultra darts half decent. So on one level, I think that this one's worthy of doing a modification guide for, and if you'd like to see me crack it open and see what's inside, I would love to have a thumbs up on this video, share it in your favorite Nerf group, and leave me a kind comment to that effect down below. On the other hand, I don't know if it's necessarily or explicitly worth the effort. Ultra darts. What else can we say that we haven't said already ad nauseum? Anyway, I'm live on twitch.tv/VampireDrac all the time. I don't believe that the Ultra 3 is currently purchasable, at least in North America right now, so all I can do is encourage you to pick up an actual pump action Springer that delivers much higher FPS, much greater accuracy, and is compatible with a litany of different dart types, most of which are not only very inexpensive, and also very consistent in their overall performance from shot 1 to shot 10. That said, you can pick up a Caliburn or a Talon Claw in a litany of different places. I have my favorites. I like Silver Fox Industries. I really like Second Guess Productions. And if you'd like to buy one of the nicest ones around, you can always pick up an arcade grade one. That purchase, of course, supports my craft and my endeavors, and you can check out that link in the description box below. Definitely don't go out of your way to pick one of these up. Would love to get your opinions down in the comment section below. As always, much love. Nerf on, Drac out.